Good morning. Little ride and tech vlog today. So I'm going to head up to Bob and Head and do some repeats. And no, don't worry, this is not me actually training properly. Don't worry, Dan, I'm not doing repeats to actually chain properly. Before we do that, because quickly, exposure. What happened? Gearing. So a couple of things are going on here. The first is this bizarre question. Well, it's not bizarre, that's rude, Chris. Like, people do ask me what cadence they should be riding, which, again, I think I mentioned this in the past, is a question I can't answer. But more interestingly, I don't like my own cadence. I find it's too slow. And I suppose the question that I asked myself about a month ago was, can I speed my cadence up by choosing different gears? Or gearing? All right, I've got some thoughts. I'll let you know. Good morning. How are you? Before we go, question. YouTube cycling B-roll. Yes or no? Right, for those of you who don't know what B-roll is, it's the bit between now and the bit of me talking again. Is it cinematic? Is it the movies? Is it Stan?
Got you distracted, subconscious overloaded. Careful, don't pull the cord on me. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a fly to get up here. We love is charging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my
So just in terms of what I'm doing today, I'm out here doing reps of Bob and Head, which for those of you that know Sydney will know it's kind of a 7 to 8 minute climb, a 6-minute climb for you, Michael Potter, but it's a really good sort of thresholdy type climb that I enjoy doing training on and can kind of get some really good solid efforts in. But in terms of how that sits with the gearing, where this is sort of fitted in with my testing of these different gears is I've tried 3 different types of gearing across the intervals, but really concentrating on what gear I have chosen for each effort. This is not something I really have ever thought about. It's just always been, well, that's the power I need to hit for this interval, or that's what I would like my heart rate to be at. I've never ever really thought about, well, I'm going to ride it in that gear and therefore see how that plays with my cadence. Looking back at the history of me doing this climb, it's normally sat sort of in the mid-80s, and I've really challenged myself to sit in the 90s during this interval. But I'll get into how the specifics of the different gearing has affected my cadence and my power as we've gone along. Spoiler alert. Honestly, I don't reckon this makes any difference. Vlog fail. It's another Chris didn't achieve anything vlog. Oh well, you got to see snot. Oh dear. Do another one, here we go. Just midway through one of the big ring ones. It's not particularly relevant to gearing, but just in terms of doing these efforts, I do find the challenge of holding the power in the big ring most like motivates you. So it's interesting, I'm keeping an eye on the gears that people are in on the climb, because you have the tap and chat people, right, who are just riding up the climb, chatting to their mate literally like this, okay? And they're obviously just in whatever. But the people who are, riding it, I'm noticing that they're nowhere near the end of the block. So they've all got compacts, full compacts, 34 in a ring, and they're like halfway up the block. And that's like men, women, 15-year-olds, 82-year-olds. Surprised they're not going past me, to be honest.
Morning. People are just looking at me going, he's talking to a camera and he's just going up and down this same thing. He's got a problem. You're right, I do.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play.
Something that I don't think people consider as much when they're doing hill reps like this, it's actually a really good opportunity to work on your descending. I know a few people that have actually come off on this Bobbin Head West descent. There's 2 corners halfway down that like you can rail them. Problem is the car with the trailer coming the other way, 9 times out of 10, they run onto the other side of the road and can get in your way. So just be careful on that one. Apart from that, guys, those top 2 corners, rip them. Seriously, rip them.
It's been turning kind of gray in Southern California.
Gotta say, the other thing that really helps that descent is classic Chris. So I'm doing the complete opposite of the state road race. Got about 50 PSI in the tyres today. It's bizarre, I'm not gonna lie, but I've on this really rough, like really uneven surface. It's really lovely. Anyway, good morning. I'm all chirpy now because I've done my efforts. I was gonna say, like, geez, everyone's really waving and there's a shout to everyone waving this morning. Problem was, I was full grump face. It's like pre-intervals or during them, I'm just like, "Brr. Morning Chris, Brr." And now like I've finished, I'm like, g'day, how are you? Great morning to be alive, isn't it? Such a dickhead, such a dickhead. What else is news while we get into it? Kids are well. Kira, so Catherine's doing a bit of tennis at the moment. Kira, swim classes, you might have seen on Instagram, taking into swim classes a bit. She's just started putting her head underwater. Really want her to, like this summer, to sort of flick that switch so we can do the proper beach family thing soon enough. We just have to teach Elizabeth to swim, you know. He's Irish. Surf skills aren't the greatest. What else is news? So, US election, run and won. Sorry, Donald. Which, actually, yeah, I'll mention this. So, that's kind of one of my big hobbies. Used to work, anyway, doesn't matter. Big hobbies. So that's kind of gone sleepy for a while. So I'm actually watching a little bit of cycling content on YouTube. You're like, seriously, Chris? But anyway, I don't watch that much, but I have been. Now, I don't know whether it's just the YouTube algorithm or what. I've really noticed the production value of like the cycling vlogger guys, like Vegan, for example. He's got a friggin' drone following him around these days. Like, just massive shouts, all big step up. I'll be honest, like, I'm a bit like, I mean, I'm not putting that much up at the moment. I'm hoping to over the summer while we get a little bit of opportunity to do it. But, like, I'm a bit nervous. Like, the step up, you know, the usual Chris sloppy vlog, I'm not sure it's going to hold water with the modern cycling vlogger. Anyway, let us know what's good, what's out there. I should mention, for anyone late to the vlog party, the reason our predominant colour is this lilac jacaranda colour are these trees. And at this time of year in Sydney, they're all over the place. They're absolutely astonishingly beautiful. They're not native, from what I understand. I think they're from South America. But just a beautiful tree. And the significance is that when we decided to start the team, we had one of those trees in the backyard. And it started flowering like this the day we got our registration put through. So it's got a lot of significance to me and the team. And it's a nice story. And I think it localizes the team as well. Like, you know, we're going to have riders from hopefully all over the country. But there is a significance to it. There's another one. See? I think it's a really nice link to Sydney, which will always play a role at the heart of the team And this, really, I mean, it's the story of Sydney cycling. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Humidity. There is a storm coming. You can sense it, can't you? You can sense it in the house. Okay, I realise I explained myself really, really poorly out on the bike, even in terms of like what was I doing. But it boils down to this, okay. I wanted to know whether, just merely by the gearing that I choose, whether I could change the style of riding that I do, like whether I could increase my cadence just basically by choosing different gearing. I think the answer is no, right? So 3 different circumstances. So I had 3 different chain rings, front chain rings, with the 50 tooth, the 52 tooth, and the 53 tooth. And I tested all 3 across 3 different criterias, okay? A crit, just endurance rides, and more hilly interval training, okay? And across all 3, I didn't really, like the average cadence never really changed that much. The only big noticeable thing was specifically in the crits with the 50 tooth. I wasn't out of gears, but I found myself way down the block so much more. And I don't find that particularly comfortable in that sort of position. Yeah, I know. People wonder what the difference between a vlog and well-produced YouTube content is. The environment that you film might be one of them. The other thing I did is I did these hour efforts in Centennial Park, sub-threshold hour efforts in Centennial Park, essentially around 300 watts, okay? And on the 3 different chain rings, I rode to feel, but I did want to like push the cadence, like pay attention to it, not have it displayed, but pay attention to it. Here's the interesting thing, okay? Across the 3 chain rings, I rode a higher cadence on, wait for it, the 53 tooth. Yeah? Like you're in that gear the whole way, not one gear, but you're in the front chain ring the whole way. And I was in a higher gear on the 53. So really, I defunct my theory that to get my cadence up generally, I would therefore run a compact chainring. I've pretty much thrown that out. But I do genuinely think that the gearing that's on your bike affects the style that you ride, the way you ride your bike. So I do lots of laps of Centennial Park, as you know, right? And as I'm lapping around to keep my brain occupied, I'll often look at the gears of the people riding in there, like what sort of, gear they're in. And it's really interesting because most of the guys, like they're riding in their sort of, 33, 34 Ks an hour around there. But I reckon like 90% of the people in there would be riding in the small ring way down the block. So like in the 13 kind of thing, like, which is really, okay, number one, it's not an efficient place to be, but it's also not a very good place to be for your bike mechanically. So this sort of chaining stuff, it's probably more to do with the fact that people don't need a 34, really.
That's right.
Like,
They don't.
You really don't need a 34. The result of having the 34 would mean that you're far further down the cassette, which is not where you want to be. Where if you had a 36, you're higher up. That's assuming you like to ride in the small ring, really. So what he didn't say there is he finds that it's pretty common for someone to come in and think about what is the worst case scenario gearing wise. So what is the one hill they can't get up, and they basically dictate their whole gearing around that one hill. Whereas
I suppose where my head's more at a little bit with this gearing thing is thinking about, well, where do you spend 99% of your riding? Like, it's probably not in the 34 something something or the 5311. So to try and find that out. And I would point out, like, this isn't like just a random performance thing. There is like equipment gains and maintenance gains to be made here, because you are trying to live in the... It's like an Australian election. The fight is for the middle. This is not America. This is not the fight for the fringes to get them to vote. It's the fight for the middle. Wow, got a political analogy in. How good. What do you think about maybe taking your training wheels off?
Maybe I could go faster. And I could still do my pedal up with support long.
Do you like pedaling in the saddle or out of the saddle? Yeah. Contador-esque. Alright, I might turn the camera off, but we should tell the camera, where is Mama tonight?
She's going with her friends to the restaurant.
Do you think she'll be home early, or do you think she'll be home late? Late.
Once there was a girl named Stella, and she always wanted to find treasure at the end of a rainbow.
Brilliant. Except for the fact Kira was pulling her pants down to the camera during the middle of that. Don't pull your pants down. That's not the way to do it. Alright, don't subscribe to this channel ever.
Why don't you stop?
Because Kiri's going to be nude in it. Sitting here, and I've done like 8 takes to try and define like what gearing is, and I'm just failing, because like every time I get to this bit where I say, well, you've got the front chainring and you can customize that, and you've got the rear cassettes, and it's sort of, you know, it's how many teeth are on the cassette, and then there's a certain ratio, and then I'm like, well, and the effect that has on what? Like, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I don't know how to describe it. So can someone help me out? Please comment below with help Chris out on how to describe gearing. I feel really bad. I had this lovely guy come up to me during the week, and he was like, oh, Chris, really loving the videos, learning so much. I'm sorry. You're not really. You can do better than this. Alright. Well, that's a fail.